Welcome back. If you're just joining us, you've not missed too much. We've gotten to the part where we get to invite our guest analyst, of course, to the studio. Today with me is Tajuddin Ahmad Tijani, an APC stakeholder. Welcome to the program, Mr. Ahmad.
Thank you.
It's good to see you once again.
And
how has it been? I'm not sure I've seen you since election period and all of that. How has it been? How was the election?
I can say so far so. Of course, yes, it's so far so good since you can congratulate me on the winning the presidential election.
Okay, so congratulations are in order.
Yeah, even though we have not make it in the state level, at the state level, though we have been rigged out, of course I am optimistic. We will reclaim our mandate. We are presently in court, so we are optimistic with the judicial process. It will be in our favor.
Okay, your optimism, does he spill over to the presidential elections too? Because right now, of course, there's been lots of back and forth, and before you actually say anything in Nigeria right now, everybody says go to court. And are you optimistic about the said presidential election too, that your person would actually come out and be victorious at the end of the day?
Certainly, I am optimistic because I am very optimistic that the Nigerian populace gave their mandate to Ashwa Jubola Ahmed Tinubu for good 4 years. Of course, I hope he will perform much better than expected, so that Nigeria will renew the hope that they gave him, so that we will have 8 years of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and then that will be 16 good years of the APC administration after the wasteful 16 years of the PDP. So of course we are on the right course in this country. I can say so far so good. Okay,
speaking of renewed hope, what has the last 2 months been? I mean, May till July right now. Do you think your person is on board, or you actually think it's taking us maybe 30 steps backward, given the fuel subsidy? I wouldn't like to start mentioning. There's been a lot going on right now. So what is your take on that before we delve into the main topic for today proper?
Well, certainly I can say so far so good. With his 43 or 44 days in office, he has made some sterling appointment of people of much integrity, or people of good track record, people of proven integrity, that they will help him so that to be on course to pilot the affairs of this country. Although we are still waiting for the presidential nominee to send the ministerial list to the Senate. Of course, we are now in the process of the security agencies are doing their thorough work in order to make sure that nobody that has skeleton in his cupboard be in the cabinet of the present administration. Though we are optimistic that the president will appoint technocrat combination of politicians, those that have good track record, those that have impeccable character, that will move this nation forward.
Okay, there is this headline that has been trending everywhere. President Tinubu seeks reps approval for 500 billion naira palliative for subsidy removal. In a letter read by Speaker Tajuddin about the 500 billion naira request will be sourced from the 819.5 billion naira in the 2022 Supplementary Appropriation Act. What's your take on that?
Well, you know, when the president has made this announcement in his inauguration speech that he has removed the subsidy, even though the previous administration has not made provision for the subsidy in the 2023 appropriation bill. So there is no money to source for the issue of the oil subsidy. It is an issue that has been lingering for the past many years since the regime of military regime, and now the democracy we are in. So the issue of the subsidy has been lingering. It's something that is it is a cancer that is biting this country very hard. So it is the best time for the president, and it is the good, he started in a good time to remove the subsidy. But we hope the money that is spent mostly on subsidy will be appropriated in a proper channel, so that the Nigerian populace will benefit from what is expected of their country, so that not only few cabals or few people that are enjoying the money which is supposed to be for the benefit of all Nigerians. No, we hope that every Nigerian will be, as I said earlier, we hope that most of that money will be channeled through, on my own opinion, in my own perspective, I believe that when it is channeled into railway system, it will make the problem that we are facing now, the hardship that Nigerians are facing all over the country, of the issue of our economy, on the issue of the hard of the removal of the subsidy that is biting Nigerians hard when it is channeled to railway system, when this country is manned from every nook and cranny of this country, that it is manned with the railway track system. At least it will ease the suffering of Nigerians. We will have goods and services will be carried out through railway, so that people will have the positive impact of the removal of the subsidy.
Speaking of railway, I'd like to take you back to President, sorry to cut you short, I'd like to take you back to President Muhammadu Buhari's administration, where of course they've laid emphasis on the fact that infrastructure was the backbone of that administration. But don't you think we lack maintenance in the country? I mean, we had railways. If we had two and we couldn't maintain it, how do we even build more to say we would maintain it right now? And I mean, they've come out to say they're owing a lot from even the previous railways and railway tracks and all of that we've built, given that all Nigerians we still have the insecurity and all of that. Do you think the president will be able to curb all of this in a short while and give us what we want in Nigeria?
Well, I believe that, of course, the issue of security in this country, it is everybody's responsibility. We cannot fold our arms and say that the security agencies are the only one responsible to secure this country. Everyone has a role to play, from the traditional rulers, the elected officials, the politicians, the ordinary Nigerians, the ward head, that everybody has a role to play in manning this country with security. We have responsibility. As a person, you have responsibility to yourself, and secondly, you have responsibility to your country. You are expected to ensure that things are put in the right perspective in order to see any suspicious movement within your domain, within your community. You are expected as a patriot in Nigeria to report to the appropriate authority, so that it will make positive impact, so that our economy can be viable. Without security, we cannot develop. We can only develop when this country is secured, and that security should not be the emphasis or the sole aim of sole effort of the security agencies. Everyone, as I said earlier, everyone has a role to go. Of course, if everyone understands that the issue of securing this country is his own primary objective, responsibility.
But the first objective of the government or the first citizen is to protect lives and properties. That should be for the police, not for Nigerians. But then if these people are not doing anything, do you think it will get to a point where Nigerians will have to start protecting themselves?
Well, I believe that the Nigerian police are doing their best. What they need now is motivation. They need to be motivated. They need to be given the necessary equipment.
And when you talk about motivation, does that include the salaries? I mean, there's been back and forth about their wages not being enough. And let's say, okay, maybe for me, I would say the way they actually extort people of money has reduced. I mean, we've not heard a lot of this thing. And now that there've been a lot of arrests for police officers that actually do not obey the books, so their rules and laws, maybe that has been able to curb them a bit. But don't you think there actually needs to be a reshuffle? And I mean, it was part of the agenda of President Tinubu during his campaign period.
Well, when you talk about motivation, it is not only motivation in terms of salary increment. No, in terms of equipment, in terms of equipment gathered that will help them to proper channel their own tactics. People can motivate them by reporting any suspicious movement within their domain, within their community. It's a motivation. When you help them with necessary information, with intelligence, when they can be able to get access to information so that they can be able to perfect functionally, they can be able to perform effectively. That is also motivation. Notwithstanding, the state government has also a role to play so that they can help them with certain accessories, with certain vehicles and other form of any kind of motivation that will help them boost their morale, so that the federal government should not tamper with their allowances, so that their allowances will help them, they will have proper motivation so that they can function equitably in securing this country. You know, people has a role to play, as I said earlier. The community we are in, that we are expected to give them relevant information so that they cannot be able to perform optimally without giving the necessary cooperation from the community, from the traditional rulers, the ordinary Nigerians also are. I believe, I agree with that. You said the primary aim, the primary responsibility of every government is to secure the lives and property of every Nigerian. Yes, of course, the government is responsible for that, but the citizen also have a role to play. When, as a citizen of the country, you are expected to cooperate with the relevant laws of the land. When, in fact, when the Nigerian people believe and respect the sanctity of their government, believe and respect the rules and regulations of the land, they will not be breaking laws and orders. So, well, in any instances, there must be some people that are suspicious, some people that are mischievous in nature. So those people, it is a responsibility of the government to bring every citizen that violates the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to deal with anybody that violates the relevant authorities. Of course, the general populace also has a role to play in order to give them relevant information to the security agents so that their work can be easy for securing this country. So you should not expect the federal government alone or the state government alone to fight to make sure Nigerians better for all of us. So we have a role to play as a Nigerians. When we become a good citizen of the country, then this country can prosper and we will go to the promised land.
Okay, I like the angle you took it from in irrespective of the fact that the federal government's duty is to, of course, protect lives and properties. You've said individuals too, we have our roles to play. Now, let's take it back to palliatives. And I like to use COVID-19 as a perfect example for when palliatives are supposed to be given out. And let's take Lagos State, for instance, where most of these things were hoarded. Most of the palliatives were hoarded, and we saw where people were breaking into warehouses and burgling and then bringing it. Are you sure this is not going to be another case of a palliative? And take, for instance, again, let's switch it back to President Buhari's administration. I mean, former president. There was a so-called palliative that was supposed to actually get to everybody. I don't know if you got or there were people that got around you. But speaking from my own angle, I'm not sure that 5,000 naira got to anywhere. And then there were times where they brought the Minister of Finance, Budget and Planning, and she made mention of, money has been disbursed, and people have been asking, to who? So are we looking at another case of, signing 500 billion naira? Because that's a lot right now. Don't you think that even if the federal government actually says, we are injecting this money into the healthcare, we're injecting this money into the education sector, will this money actually get there? Now, let's not even, that's things we cannot see. Now, the ones that we can see as Nigerians, do you actually think these palliatives would actually be disbursed appropriately and timely manner, even if this was approved by the 10th Assembly? Well,
on the issue of palliatives, it has different tone and in different categories. There is issue of giving palliatives in the sense that certain people were given some amount of money to cushion the effect of COVID-19, while it is unfortunate that the Nigerian populace cannot trust the governors they have elected with their own hand. They elected them while in some instances in certain states, mostly majority of the state of the country, the governors decided to hold those palliatives that is meant to get to the populace. It is very unfortunate. I am a Nigerian. I have seen what has happened. Everybody has seen what has happened all over the country. Nobody is happy with what had happened in the past. What we hope that we always learn from our mistakes. We hope the federal government this time will not allow what had happened in the past to continue repeating itself. We hope that the new elected governors, when they are entrusted with leadership, when they are entrusted, they should understand that the trust given to them by the people, it is a trust that they are expected to manage very well, so that the Nigerian people will be happy. You should know that at the end of your tenure, you can count, or you will be accountable before you will be accountable to yourself, you will be accountable to God Almighty, even if you are not caught in this temporal world that we are in. We expect that our leaders should fear God and try to do the right thing at the right time. So we hope that these committees that was set earlier by the present administration that is responsible to see that this palliative get where it's supposed to be. We hope these committees that we have been inaugurated by President Asuwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu will do the right thing and the right thing and at the right time. I hope that there will not be issue of hoarding this time around. We hope that Nigerians will be happy. Perhaps if the government of the past decided not to punish those that violate what is expected for the vulnerable Nigerians, we hope this time around this president is a no-nonsense man, is someone that of impeccable character, even though I commend the effort and the tenacity of the former president. He has done his best, but you know, whatever happened, Nigerians, you cannot take away the issue of the dubious character of some of our people, some of the leaders. We hope this time around the National Assembly is there, it will function optimally in overseeing the affairs of the oversight function, in order to ensure that their work is to make sure that the federal government, the legislative, has done its oversight in a situation whereby it will hold every elected official or every head of parastatal accountable to what he is expected to do. We hope the Nigerian people will also put eyes, will checkmate the administration so that it will go. You know, there are critics, there are some that are positive in nature, while there are some that goes to personality. I hope that when the government is checkmated in whatever it does to the people, it will keep them in whole so that it will do the right thing for the general populace.
But do you actually think the Nigerian population, or let's say the electorate, has enough power to actually checkmate the Nigerian politicians, or say the government right now?
Certainly, the Nigerian populace, they have the power, because it is the Nigerian decided to vote for these people into power. Before then they were not there, and now it is some people that they elected them. So you elected someone, you have ability, you have the power to checkmate what he is supposed to do. In the terms of legislature, there is a process of recall. In terms of the executive, you can mount pressure on your state assembly members to impeach anybody that decided to do otherwise. So when Nigerians rise up to their responsibility of checkmating the elected officials, I think they will do the right thing. And even though if the state assembly become robust and become subservient to the executive, it is only 4 years. So this
because
4 years is just like a blink of eyes.
You cannot possibly say it's only 4 years, because 4 years has a major role to play.
Certainly,
if you add 4 years to your current age right now, you would agree with me that you would go a long way in the next 4 years if things actually go right. But do you actually think the Ninth Assembly was rubber stamped? I beg your pardon.
Some were rubber stamped, some were just subservient to the executive. But we hope, if the Nigerian people will keep pressurizing their elected official, I think they will do the right thing. They will do the right thing. They will make sure that was it not the PDP that came to power in 1999 after 16 years of mismanagement? We decided as Nigerians to say that we don't like the status quo. We want to change another government to come into power. Nigerians then decided to checkmate the former administration. They voted it out. They vote for another people, and now they give 8 years to President Muhammadu Buhari, and now another 4 years mandate to Asuwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, though as a man of impeccable character. We are optimistic. Bola Ahmed Tinubu, from the start, we hope that he will hit the ground running, and he has already hit the ground running.
Yeah, I was going to say he has already hit the ground running.
Because from the look of his appointment, he has appointed people of impeccable character, people that were known for the good, people that will help him violate the affairs of this country. We hope that anyone decided to do otherwise, he knows how to nail that person. He can outsmart and also push him out from his government, so that Nigerians will be in a better hand. We hope that the Nigerians are now in a better hand from the Asuwaju Bola.
Okay, I like the fact that you're positive, and I would just
I am positive. I am very optimistic about
it. Now let's get into our ministerial prospects, and that's examining Tinubu's promises of inclusion for this said administration. I mean, we've seen the chief, the service chiefs, we've seen some other major appointment, but then let's take a detour to the ministerial list. Do you actually think the inclusion would actually really include, let me use that word, do you think the inclusion would actually really include, and when I say include, I'm not talking about inclusion for just not just from the angle of nepotism, I'm talking about the angle of the youth, women, and there's been issues of having low percentage of women in governance in Nigeria. And then if you actually take a detour, you will realize that when women are put in places, they actually rule better. Let's first start with that.
You are the one who decided to say that,
okay.
the women do actually
no,
better.
I mean, we have people. We have Dora Kuyili.
Women, we are not arguing you can do better,
okay.
but it depends on when the people, the low part of the women, it depends on when the women rise up,
okay,
go to fall. If the people decided to vote for them, then they can vote for them so that they can mantle the affairs of the leadership. But on the issue of inclusion of youth, we hope that the president is a man that put youth in his agenda, because if you look at the background, if you look at the present demography of the country, then youth constitute almost 60 to 70% of the general population of the country. So we hope that, as his antecedents have shown, how he nurtured young people to become some people in the country. He has nurtured, so his antecedent will tell us that this president is for the youth. This president will bring on new breed, so that we will bridge the gap between the young and the old, so that at least this country, the inclusion of the youth, will take this country to the promised land. But we hope that, I am a youth, we hope that the youth cannot disappoint. We hope that when youth are given position in leadership, they will perform to the best of their ability to see that this country belongs to all of us, and the future of the country depends on the youth of every nation. So when the youth decided to do otherwise, then the country, the future of the country is on the blink. So we hope that the youth will do the right thing whenever they are appointed in certain position, so that we will move this country forward. We will leave a good legacy to the younger generation, including the urban generation that are.
But you mentioned something about the populace of the youth. You said if you check, majority of people right now that wants to actually be included in governance, they are majorly youths. But then it's one thing for the population to be majorly youths, it's another thing for them to be actually included. Do you actually think the president right now would want to include you? I mean, let's go back to Kogi State. I know that most people would like to avoid this talk, but then we were expecting that the Kogi State governor would actually be out there and lay or set good foundation for the youth. But now it looks like the reverse is the case, given the case of insecurity going on in Kogi State right now. Do you think that's actually a nice way to actually see that, oh, we've tested you guys, and then there's been the not too young to run that we've not actually even seen implementing, because people come out to say, oh, as a youth, you need lots of things before you can even get in that position, and there's been lots of back and forth, and even checking the list of people that he has actually appointed already, that there is barely any youth. I mean, people that are actually really young. If you check, nobody is in their early 30s or late 30s among them.
No, I think there is the like of Abdulaziz, the former editor of Daily Trust.
Okay.
He's a youth, and
how old is he?
President Asuwajubola recently appointed him to be his essay on print media, and that guy is a technocrat, is a technocrat. In fact, he has helped me in so many ways in order to see that he has motivated me. He is a youth like me, even though he's a little bit age-wise than me. So to say that the youth are not included in President Asuwajubola and Tinubu past set of
that's like 1 out of 100.
They are there. Mostly, it's not necessarily I will be in contact with them or I know them, but I know them. They are there in the appointment. So to say that I am not avoiding anything, in fact, on the issue of the Kogi State Governor Yaya Bello, people have been saying a lot of things, a lot of negative things about him, but later on, when I fact-checked, I realized that he has done a lot to the state. I commend his effort in terms of public infrastructure. I have seen a lot, even though I do not visit Kogi for a while, but I have seen a lot on social media. His aid has helped him propagate what he has done. Me, on the issue of, we have had the issue of withholding salaries. I am not happy with that, because whenever you are talking, you should be straightforward and you should say something that will satisfy your conscience, not only on the issue of Kogi, all over the history of Nigeria. I am not happy with some of the withholding people's salary unnecessarily. What they're supposed to do, they're supposed to pay the people their wages at when due. So without them, if, for instance, let's take them in that position when they were not paid their salary, how will they cope with their, and these people have family to take care of. So the education of their children, they are the head. What do you expect them to do if you decided to withhold their salary unnecessarily and unjustifiably? I call on the state government to all over the country to desist from that, so that this country can be able to move forward. Yes, but I am optimistic and hoping. You know, I am not Bola Ahmed, so I cannot speak on his behalf.
But you are still part of the renewed hope.
I am part of those that advocate for this government to come in, and I am very optimistic that this government will be youth friendly, so that the youth will be all over the country to man the affairs of this government, so that if you said that you will not appoint youth in your government, who do you think will come next on board when you dominate your government with all passion that are about to go? So we need combination of the youth and the old, so that the country can move in a proper perspective. So we hope that the coming ministers, the head of father status that will come on board, there will be inclusion of the youth, and let me not be gender biased. The women should also be part of the government, so that at least they can bring also their expertise, so that we should move forward as a nation.
Okay. All right, let's quickly take this break, and when we return, the politics continues.